You know, there's a reason why it's mandatory to wear a hard hat on a construction site, and I think I just gave you another one. We usually think of this kind of headgear as protecting us from objects falling down, but as you just saw, sometimes the danger isn't an object plummeting towards your head, but your head heading towards an object. Now, hard hats play a very important role in the construction industry. They were one of the very first safety items introduced because people kept getting hit on the head or hitting their heads and getting injured. So hard hats became mandatory to wear and over time have become even safer. This one not only has protection for your head, but also ear protection built in, as well as a screen visor that can protect you from things flying into your face. You can put a winter liner in it to cover your head and keep yourself warm in the winter time. It has a bit of what's called a rain gutter here, so the water doesn't drip down and go down to your neck. And it's got a bit of a sun visor to keep the sun out of your eyes. So they're built with a lot of safety features in mind. Now, modern hard hats work because of what's called the suspension bands inside the helmet. It doesn't go right to the very top. And this provides some space between the top of your head and the top of this, so that if something hits this, the impact is less likely to be transmitted to the skull in one certain place, but the force is spread around. Something you may not know is that the color of a hard hat can say something about who the person that's wearing it is. Something about who they are or what they do, depending on the company one works for, of course. So while orange, green, blue, or yellow are generally worn by the regular workers, sometimes these colors designate the type of tradesperson, like a carpenter, or an electrician, or a plumber, or a heavy equipment operator. And sometimes the color is designated for an apprentice, who is someone who is learning the trade. And they do that so that you can more easily find someone on the job site just by looking for a certain color of helmet. Now, of course, it's generally recognized that people at the very top of the heap, the boss, they get to wear white hard hats. And while I generally have this yellow one, today I think I deserve a white one. Today, I want to be the boss. I want to be on top of the heap, and I have a white one right here. Let's just try it on. You know what? It doesn't seem to fit. It's like my head swelled or something. So it seems I have to make a choice here. I can look like an idiot with too small a hard hat, or I can just be myself with a servant hat. That brings me to our lesson for today from Mark 10:35 to 45. Here in this lesson we find some of Jesus' disciples are attempting to gain a position where they would be wearing a white hard hat. They wanted to be right up there with the boss. They wanted to be top dogs and king of the hill. But Jesus makes clear for them a very startling point. In God's kingdom, everything is upside down from what we might expect. Rather than getting ahead in God's kingdom by climbing some sort of ladder where you consider other people beneath you, those kinds of attitudes in the kingdom of God actually move you down the ladder. to be the greatest in God's eyes does not mean giving orders, but rather it means we are to serve others. And those who are most willing to serve are the ones who are considered the greatest in God's kingdom. Now, I know we may not like that kind of thinking because quite often that's not how we see the world working. It almost seems like those who shove others aside and push them around, they always seem to wind up a little higher on the social ladder than we do, kind of like how this clamp is higher on this piece of wood. But let's think about it another way. What happens when God's kingdom fully arrives and everything gets turned upside down?